Perhaps at some point in your life, you have asked yourself a silent question. A question many people carry for years without saying it out loud. Why am I here? What is God's purpose for me? This question often appears in moments of change, in seasons of doubt, in phases when we feel we are moving forward, but do not know exactly where we are going. Sometimes everything seems normal on the outside. Routine, work, responsibilities. Yet inside there is a sense that something has not yet been discovered, as if part of the story has not yet been revealed. The Bible shows that this feeling is not a spiritual mistake. On the contrary, many times it is the beginning of the process through which God starts guiding someone toward a greater purpose. Abraham did not know where he was going when he received the call. Moses did not feel prepared when he was chosen. David was only a young shepherd when he was anointed. In almost every biblical story, purpose does not begin with clarity. It begins with a quiet calling and a journey of discovery. Many people believe that discovering God's purpose means receiving an instant revelation, a clear and immediate answer about what to do with life. But most of the time, purpose is not revealed as a complete map. It is revealed as a path that opens step by step. God rarely shows the entire road at once, because learning to trust is part of the journey of purpose itself. When we see everything, we walk by certainty. When we see only the next step, we walk by faith. There is an important detail many people ignore. God's purpose does not begin in the future. It begins in the present. We often imagine purpose as something distant, something great that will happen someday. But the Bible teaches that whoever is faithful in little will also be placed over much. This means purpose is not only the final destination, but also the way we live today. The small decisions, the attitudes no one sees, the moments when we choose obedience even without fully understanding what God is preparing. Perhaps you are in a season of life where you feel you are waiting for something to happen, waiting for an opportunity, waiting for a clearer direction, waiting for confirmation. This time of waiting does not mean your life is standing still. Many times, this is the season when God is preparing your heart, shaping your vision, strengthening your faith, and aligning circumstances that are not yet visible. In Joseph's story, for example, the purpose God had for him was great, but before reaching the palace, he went through years of preparation that seemed meaningless at the time. Purpose was not only in the final destination, it was being built in every stage of the journey. Discovering God's purpose begins when we understand that purpose is not only what I will do, but also who I am becoming. God is not interested only in taking us to a specific place. He is interested in transforming our character as we walk. Often we want to know quickly what our mission is, but God first works on our spiritual maturity, because purpose without preparation can become a burden that is difficult to carry. Inner growth is an essential part of discovery. Another important point is that God's purpose rarely begins with something that appears extraordinary. Most of the time, it begins with faithfulness in small things, with simple choices made every day, with attitudes that demonstrate obedience even when no one is watching. David did not begin as a king. He began caring for sheep in the fields, facing lions and bears far from the applause of people. Those quiet moments were not wasted time. They were invisible training for what was coming later. We often underestimate the simple seasons of life, But it is in those seasons that God builds the foundation for what is ahead. Perhaps you think you have not yet found your purpose because nothing extraordinary has happened. But God's purpose does not depend only on major events. It is revealed in the consistency of the journey. Every time you choose to grow, to learn, to help someone, to develop your gifts, to remain faithful even on difficult days, you are advancing within what God is building. Many people wait for an extraordinary sign, while ignoring the small directions God has already placed before them. There is also something that must be clearly understood. God's purpose is not the same for everyone. Some are called to lead, others to teach, others to care, others to create, others to serve in areas that may never appear publicly, but have a deep impact on someone's life. The value of purpose is not in visibility. It is in obedience. What God asks of you may be different from what He asked of someone else, and comparing journeys can cause someone to lose their own direction. Satan. Often, purpose begins to reveal itself when we start paying attention to what God has already placed within us. Talents, inclinations, passions, abilities, opportunities that naturally arise along the way. God usually does not call someone to something completely disconnected from what He Himself planted within that person's heart. Over time, what you feel drawn to do, what brings life to your spirit, what creates positive impact around you begins to point toward clues of the path being formed. It is also important to understand that purpose does not mean the absence of difficulties. Many people believe that once they are finally in their purpose, everything will become easy. But the Bible shows exactly the opposite. Often, purpose comes accompanied by challenges that strengthen faith, mature the heart, and develop perseverance. Purpose is not a path without obstacles. It is a path guided by God, even when obstacles exist. Perhaps you are in a moment where you feel you have not yet fully found your direction. And this can create anxiety, a feeling of delay, or comparison with others who seem to have already discovered what to do. But every journey has its own timing, and God does not work with human urgency. He works with divine preparation. What seems like delay is often formation. What seems like silence is often invisible construction. What seems like uncertainty is often God teaching you to walk by faith. One of the deepest ways to begin discovering purpose is to develop spiritual sensitivity, to learn to listen more, observe more, reflect more, and allow God to gradually shape the heart over time. Direction will not always come as an audible voice. Many times it comes as a growing conviction, a door that opens, a path that slowly begins to make sense, an opportunity that aligns unexpectedly. God guides both through His Word and through circumstances, people, and experiences we live. There is also an important detail many people forget. Purpose is not only something I will do someday, it is also the way I live now. Living with purpose means living with intention, living knowing that each action can impact someone, that every decision shapes the future, and that every moment can be part of something greater than what we can currently see. When we begin to live this way, the feeling of emptiness begins to fade, because we realize that life is not waiting for a great moment to begin. It is already happening now. Perhaps you still do not have all the answers, but that does not mean you are lost. Many times we are closer to purpose than we imagine. We simply do not notice because we expect something too grand. God builds extraordinary stories from simple steps taken with faithfulness. Direction becomes clearer as we continue walking, learning, and trusting. At this moment, the most important question may not be, what is the complete purpose of my life? But what is the next step God is inviting me to take? Purpose is not revealed all at once. It is revealed step by step, and every step taken in faith opens the way for the next one. Perhaps this reflection is reaching you exactly at a moment when you needed to remember that your life is not without direction, that a path is being built even when you cannot yet see it clearly, and that God continues working silently in areas that are not yet visible. Purpose is not something reserved for only a few people. It is part of the plan God writes in the life of every person who chooses to walk with Him. And perhaps the beginning of this discovery starts today. Not with an immediate answer, but with a simple decision. To keep walking, to keep trusting, and to keep believing that even when everything is not yet clear, God continues guiding every step. In the previous part, we talked about how God's purpose rarely begins with complete and immediate answers. Many times it begins with questions, with inner restlessness, with that quiet feeling that something greater is being prepared, even when we still cannot clearly see what it is. And perhaps right now you are living in this very phase. The phase where you feel that you are walking, but still do not have full clarity about where this path will lead. The Bible shows that this period of uncertainty is not a sign that something is wrong. Often, it is a sign that something is being built. Think about the story of Moses. For years, he lived in the desert caring for sheep, an apparently ordinary routine, far from any visible great mission. If someone looked only at that moment, they might think his life was far from any extraordinary purpose. Yet that time was not a delay. It was preparation. God was forming in him the patience, humility, and maturity necessary for what would come later. One of the greatest difficulties we face today is hurry. We want to quickly discover our calling. We want clear answers immediately. We want to feel that we are exactly in the right place as soon as possible. But God's process is almost always different from our pace. He works in depth, not only in speed. And many times what we call delay is actually formation. Perhaps you have already asked yourself, what if I am behind? What if other people have already discovered their purpose, and I still have not? This silent comparison can generate anxiety, but it is important to remember that every journey has its own timing. David was anointed king while still young, yet it took years before he actually took the throne. During that period, he faced challenges, persecution, and difficult moments that shaped his faith and his character. Purpose did not begin when he was crowned. Purpose was already happening throughout the entire process. There is an important detail many people do not realize. God does not reveal the next level before we are prepared for it. Not because He wants to hide something, but because purpose without maturity can become a weight that is difficult to carry. Imagine someone receiving enormous responsibility without having developed the emotional and spiritual strength necessary to handle it. Many times, God first strengthens the interior before expanding the exterior. Another essential point is understanding that purpose is not only a position, a profession, or a specific moment in life. Purpose is a continuous direction. Some people believe they will discover purpose as if it were a single remarkable event, but often it reveals itself as a sequence of connected steps over time. One choice leads to another. One opportunity opens the way for the next. One experience prepares the ground for something greater. Notice how many biblical stories follow exactly this pattern. Joseph did not arrive in Egypt already occupying a position of leadership. He went through difficult stages, moments that seemed to completely contradict any promise he had received. Yet every phase contributed to forming the person he needed to become. Purpose was not interrupted by challenges. It was built through them. Perhaps right now you are living something similar. A season that seems ordinary, repetitive, or even confusing. Perhaps you are doing something that does not appear extraordinary. Perhaps you are waiting for a greater opportunity. Perhaps you are trying to understand what the next step is. And this is exactly where many people make a mistake. They believe that purpose has not yet begun, when in reality, it is already happening. Every skill you develop, every lesson you learn, every challenge you face and overcome, every moment when you choose to continue, even when it would be easier to give up, all of this is part of the construction of purpose. God does not waste experiences. Even situations we do not fully understand at the time may be contributing to something that will make sense in the future. There is also an inner dimension to this journey that is often ignored. Discovering God's purpose is not only about what should I do, but also about who am I becoming while I walk. God works first in the heart because character sustains calling. Without inner growth, any external achievement becomes fragile. That is why, many times before opening great doors, God works silently in internal areas: faith, patience, wisdom, emotional balance, trust. Perhaps you are exactly in this type of phase right now. A phase in which apparently nothing extraordinary is happening, yet internally many things are being adjusted. This phase may seem quiet, but it is deeply significant. Just as roots grow invisibly before a tree becomes strong, inner growth often happens far from people's eyes. Another important truth is that God's purpose is not something isolated from everyday life. Many times we expect it to appear as something completely different from the life we are already living, but often God begins revealing purpose through the opportunities already around us. People we can help, gifts we can develop, areas where we realize we can create positive impact. All of this begins to point toward direction. This does not mean the path will always be easy or perfectly clear. There will be moments of doubt, moments of adjustment, moments when it will be necessary to change direction. And that does not mean you have left your purpose. It means the journey is moving. God guides people who are moving. As we walk, new doors become visible. Many times the next step does not appear while we remain standing, still waiting for absolute certainty. It appears when we take steps in faith, even small ones. Just as a road reveals itself as we move forward, spiritual direction also becomes clearer when we keep walking. Yup. Perhaps at this moment, the most important question is not, what is the complete purpose of my life? But, what is the next step I can take faithfully right now? This change of perspective reduces anxiety and makes the journey lighter, because instead of trying to see the entire future, you begin focusing on what you can do today. And this is exactly how many stories of purpose begin. Not with dramatic decisions, but with small, consistent steps taken with faith and perseverance. Over time, these steps begin to form a path that was not visible before. What once seemed like only a sequence of experiences begins to reveal a larger design, a meaning that becomes clear only when looking back. Perhaps you still do not completely see this design in your own life, but that does not mean it is not being built. Many times understanding comes after the journey, not before it. And while you continue moving forward, even slowly, even with doubts, something important is happening. You are being prepared for what is still to come. In the next part, we will enter an essential point of this journey: how to recognize the signs that indicate spiritual direction, and how to distinguish human anxiety from divine guidance. Something that can completely transform the way you perceive your next steps. There comes a moment in almost everyone's journey when a quiet question appears. How do I know if I'm going in the right direction? The answer does not always come immediately or in an obvious way, and that is exactly what can create anxiety. Many times we expect an extraordinary confirmation, something absolutely clear that removes any possibility of error. But the way God usually leads is more subtle and profound. Spiritual direction often reveals itself as a gradual alignment between what God places within the heart, the opportunities that begin to appear, and the inner peace that confirms certain steps. The Bible repeatedly shows that God guides people in ways that require spiritual sensitivity. Elijah did not find God in the strong wind, nor in the earthquake, nor in the fire, but in a gentle whisper. This teaches us that divine direction will not always be loud. Many times it will be perceived in silence, in prayer, in reflection, and in the careful observation of the paths that begin to open. One of the first signs of spiritual direction is the growth of a consistent inner conviction over time. It is not merely a momentary impulse or a passing emotion, but something that remains, matures, and repeatedly returns to the heart. Many people ignore these impressions because they expect something more spectacular, yet God often works exactly in this way, slowly confirming, reinforcing the same direction through different means, and allowing clarity to increase gradually. Another important aspect is noticing how certain gifts and abilities begin to stand out naturally. Throughout life, each person develops specific capacities. Some communicate easily, others care for people with sensitivity, others organize, lead, create, teach, or solve problems naturally. These talents do not appear by accident. Many times, they are quiet clues, pointing to areas where purpose may manifest more strongly. However, it is important to understand that talent alone does not define purpose. Purpose is born when talent, opportunity, and intention come together. Sometimes someone has a skill, but the right time to use it fully has not yet arrived. At other times, the opportunity appears before the person feels completely ready. and that requires faith to take the first step. God does not require perfection before the journey. He works during the journey. But there is also a detail that often goes unnoticed. God's direction frequently comes with growth, not only comfort. Many people believe the right path will always feel easy, but often the right path requires courage, stepping outside the comfort zone, and trusting even when there is no guarantee of immediate results. This does not mean everything will be difficult, but it does mean that growth and purpose walk together. Another element that helps recognize spiritual direction is observing the fruits that begin to appear along the way. When certain choices generate positive impact, when they help people, when they produce personal and spiritual growth, this often indicates alignment with something greater. God's purpose is not expressed only in personal achievements, but also in the ability to create transformation around us. Does it? Many times the greatest obstacle to perceiving direction is not the absence of signs, but the excess of internal noise. Anxiety, comparison with others, fear of making mistakes, and the need for absolute control can make it difficult to recognize the path that is opening. When the mind is very restless, it becomes hard to perceive subtle guidance. That is why moments of silence, prayer, and reflection are so important. They reduce the noise and allow clarity to grow. It is also important to remember that God rarely reveals the complete destination before the first step. This happens because faith develops along the journey. Abraham received the instruction to leave, but he did not receive every detail immediately. Peter stepped out of the boat before knowing exactly how he would walk on the water. In many biblical moments, clarity came after the decision to trust. Trust precedes full understanding. There is another factor that brings security during this journey. God's direction never contradicts the principles He has already established. Paths that encourage growth, honesty, care for others, responsibility, and spiritual development usually align with what God desires to build. When something requires abandoning essential values or producing destruction around us, it is unlikely to represent divine direction. Consistency between the path and core values is an important compass. Another essential point is understanding that adjustments are part of the journey. Sometimes we begin something believing it will be the final path, and over time we realize that stage served as preparation for something different. That does not mean there was a mistake. It means there was learning. God often leads through progressive processes, and each stage contributes to the next. Many people feel anxious because they believe they must discover their entire purpose immediately, as if every decision had to be perfect from the beginning. However, purpose is not a single definitive step. It is a sequence of aligned steps over time. Faithfulness in each stage creates clarity for the next. When we look back, we realize that many seemingly small decisions formed a meaningful path. There is also a deeply spiritual element in this journey: trust. Trust does not mean having all the answers, but continuing to walk even when some questions remain. Trust transforms uncertainty into movement, and movement allows new doors to appear. Many opportunities only become visible when we move a few steps beyond the point where we thought we would stop. Perhaps you are in a moment where you see several possibilities before you and do not know exactly which one to choose. In situations like this, the best path is often to begin with what can be done now, using the resources and opportunities available in the present. God does not guide only through major decisions. He guides through small, consistent steps that over time build clearer direction. Or, as we continue walking with attention, prayer, and a willingness to learn, something interesting begins to happen. What once seemed confusing slowly starts to take shape. Some doors open naturally, others close without effort. Certain paths begin to make more sense, and the sense of direction gradually grows. Clarity rarely arrives like lightning. It usually comes like sunrise, gradually illuminating what was once in darkness. And in this process, something even more important happens. Not only do we discover the path we should follow, but we become people more prepared to walk it. Purpose is not only the place we are going, it is also the transformation that happens within us as we move forward. There comes a moment in every person's journey when a quiet sense of impatience begins to appear. Even after praying, reflecting, and trying to walk in faith, it may feel as though things are not happening at the expected pace. Plans take longer, answers seem distant, opportunities arrive more slowly than we imagined. At this point, many begin to wonder whether they are truly on the right path or whether something has been left behind. Yet the Bible repeatedly shows that God's processes rarely follow the rhythm of human urgency, and what seems like delay is often deep preparation. Think about the story of David. He was anointed king while still young, but years passed before he actually took the throne. During that time, he faced challenges that could have led anyone to believe the promise would never be fulfilled. Still, every stage of that process shaped his character, strengthened his faith, and developed the abilities he would need when the right moment arrived. The purpose was not only in the coronation, it was being quietly formed through each previous experience. One of the greatest emotional challenges during the discovery of purpose is dealing with the feeling that we are standing still, while others seem to move ahead quickly. Comparisons can create frustration, anxiety, and even the impression that something is wrong with our own journey. But every story has its own timing, and another person's pace does not determine the pace of what God is building in your life. What takes longer is often being built more deeply. There is an important truth that transforms the way we view waiting seasons. Time of preparation is never wasted time. Even when we do not see major external changes, something is happening internally. Skills are being developed, maturity is being formed, vision is expanding. Often the growth that will sustain purpose happens in moments that appear simple or even invisible to others. It is also essential to understand that purpose does not mean the absence of silent phases. In many biblical stories, there are periods when apparently nothing extraordinary is happening, yet those periods are part of the complete construction. Joseph spent years in situations that seemed far from the promise he had received, and still each experience contributed to the moment when he would be ready to assume great responsibility. Many people believe that once they are on the right path, everything will move quickly. But the reality is that even the right paths include stages of slow growth. Just as a strong tree does not grow overnight, a purpose that will create lasting impact also needs time to develop deep roots. When something grows too quickly without enough structure, it becomes fragile. God works in a way that ensures sustainable growth. During these periods, the greatest temptation is to give up or change direction simply because results have not yet appeared. However, persisting in consistent processes is often exactly what builds the foundation necessary for what will come later. Small steps repeated over time generate transformations that would not be possible otherwise. Consistency is one of the most powerful tools in the formation of purpose. There is also something important happening emotionally in these moments. We learn to trust not only when everything is clear, but also when doubts still exist. This kind of trust strengthens faith in a way that no immediate answer could. When we continue walking even without seeing all the results, we develop an inner confidence that will accompany us in greater challenges ahead. Another aspect that often goes unnoticed is that some paths need to mature before they become visible. Just as certain opportunities depend on connections, experiences, and specific moments to happen, God often arranges circumstances that we cannot yet fully see. What appears to be delay may be alignment taking place in details that will only make sense later. Many people think they are behind because they have not yet reached certain goals. But the truth is that purpose is not a race where everyone starts at the same time and finishes at the same speed. Each person travels a unique path, and comparison only steals the piece needed to keep moving forward. When we focus on personal growth, we begin to realize that even small steps accumulated over time create significant progress. It is also important to remember that God's purpose does not depend only on extraordinary moments. It reveals itself in daily choices, in consistent attitudes, in small decisions that slowly shape the future. We often wait for one great transformative moment, but it is the repeated decisions made day after day that truly build the path. During longer processes, another essential ability develops: perseverance. Perseverance is not born when everything is easy. It is born when we continue despite challenges, even when we do not see immediate results, even when the journey requires patience. This quality strengthens the heart and prepares the mind for greater responsibilities. There is a shift in perspective that brings great peace. Instead of asking, "Why is this taking so long?" begin asking, "What am I learning during this time?" This question transforms waiting into growth and gives meaning to every stage. When we realize that we are being prepared, anxiety decreases and confidence increases. Many times, looking back, we realize that the seasons that seemed slow were exactly the ones that contributed most to our formation. Knowledge gained, skills developed, relationships built, experiences lived, all begin to form a foundation that supports future opportunities. What once seemed simple or even frustrating begins to make sense when the bigger picture starts to appear. Purpose is not only a destination. It is the sum of every stage of the journey. Each phase contributes to what will come next, and no process lived with faith and learning is wasted. Even difficult moments can become tools that later help others who will face similar situations. As we continue moving forward, something interesting happens. Clarity begins to grow gradually. Small confirmations appear, new possibilities arise, and what once seemed distant slowly begins to come closer. Not because everything happened suddenly, but because the path was being built step by step. And in this process, one truth becomes increasingly evident. God's purpose is not standing still waiting for you to find it. It is being built while you continue walking, learning, growing, and remaining faithful in the steps you can take today. There comes a moment in the journey when something changes quietly within us. The questions may still exist, the challenges may still appear, and the future may not yet be completely clear. But a different feeling begins to emerge, the certainty that we are not walking alone. This awareness transforms the way we see purpose, because we understand that purpose is not only a distant destination, it is the journey itself lived with God day after day. Many people spend years waiting to discover something extraordinary before they begin living with purpose. But the truth is that purpose begins the moment we decide to walk with intention, grow with faith, and act faithfully in the opportunities already before us. What seems small today may become the beginning of something much greater tomorrow. And many of the greatest stories started with simple steps no one noticed at the time. The Bible shows that God works through processes. He develops people before positioning them and strengthens the heart before expanding responsibility. When we understand this, anxiety decreases because we realize we do not need to rush to reach something. We only need to continue walking, learning, and remaining faithful in the steps we can already take. There is something powerful in understanding that purpose does not depend only on great opportunities, but also on how we respond to the small opportunities of daily life. Every decision to grow, every act of faith, and every step taken with consistency becomes part of building the path. Purpose is revealed not only in extraordinary moments, but also in the constancy of simple choices. It is also important to remember that purpose is not comparison. Each person has a unique journey, a specific timing, and a personal path. God's purpose for your life is personal, and it reveals itself according to the journey that is being built specifically for you. Perhaps today you still do not fully see where your story is leading, but that does not mean it has no direction. Many times God is working at levels we cannot yet perceive, preparing paths, aligning encounters, and forming opportunities while you continue living, learning, and growing. Faithfulness in the present builds doors that will open in the future. There is a phrase that summarizes this journey well. Purpose is not found only at the final destination, but in every step taken with God along the way. When we understand this, life stops being merely a wait for something great and becomes a meaningful journey every day. If this reflection spoke to your heart, take this moment to strengthen your walk of faith. Subscribe to The Meaning of the Bible, leave your like, and share this video with someone who is also seeking direction, purpose, and spiritual growth. Each new message here is created to help you keep moving forward with confidence, knowing that God continues to guide every step of your path.